Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another lovely Minecraft discussion this gorgeous, gorgeous late fall day. You know, I guess I'm like in the late fall of my life, come to think of it. You know what I mean? I mean, if you think about it, like seasonally. And gosh, I love it. It's so deep and contemplative. I think I mentioned I've been listening to a lot of George Winston lately because George Winston is autumn. He does a winter into spring too, but in my opinion, it kind of sounds still autumn. It's just so deep and it's like warms you up right here. Anyway, my name is Kimberly Quinn. And I'm so thrilled. I'm absolutely elated to be here today. There's little G just hanging out by the beaver pond. Oh no, he's chewing on a beaver stick. They look like pencils. You know, they chew the end into these pencil shapes. They're very cool. Okay, anyway, today's topic. I was inspired today by Sarah Brown Brednick. She writes the book Simple Abundance. It's a day book of comfort and joy. Anyway, basically, I read it all through my 30s, and it's not a cover-to-cover situation, right? She has like page or page and a half of just the most uplifting, and it's seasonal. So she has it, you know, things you would do in November, things you would think in, you know, kind of thing, and then the spring with, you know, spring type thinking, like cleaning out closets and feng shuiing, and anyway, it's just really good. So today, I was inspired by something that didn't have to do with November, actually, or October or November. But the importance of prioritizing solitude. And so I was inspired by her. Her title's entirely different, but really that's what I got from it is prioritizing solitude, because it's so easy to get swept up. Oh my God, this is absolutely exquisite. It's gorgeous. I was telling you about my bestie from St. Mike's who talks about the color of November being burnt sienna. It's a color in the Crayola crayon box, and you cannot explain this color better than that. And the color that's behind me, it's all burnt sienna. It's just so crazy. Anyway, so the importance of solitude. So, you know, we especially in the U.S. and I think other sort of individualistic cultures. And of course, I love my country very much. That said, we do zip around like gerbils on crack. I mean, it's just true. We're a very fast-paced, climb-up society, you know, and media saturated, which I think speeds us up to Mach 10, you know, because it's just so much faster, you know, than things ever used to be, you know. And so even more so, it's important to carve out time. Almost feels like you're stealing it, which is stupid because they're your own life minutes. It's like breaking into your own piggy bank, you know, and say I'm taking $5 to myself. You know, it's dumb. But we really have got to prioritize it, because it really does. And this is the part that I was inspired this morning by Sarah, is that when we are out here, and obviously I've got this wonderful gift of these woods here. It's just great. And I realize not everybody has that, but we can still prioritize solitude wherever you are, no matter if you're in Manhattan or, you know, Los Angeles or Istanbul or you know, Chicago or I don't know, Brazil somewhere in a big city. You can still do it. It might just be, I might have to work at it a little bit. You can still prioritize the quiet and the solitude, because here's the thing Sarah was talking about is how solitude bridges are two, sort of like the two worlds, or are two parts, the duality of our lives. There's the life we're living out in the world, right? We're checking all the boxes and checking the boxes and doing all the responsibilities that we have to do, you know, kids' appointments, pediatricians, our appointments, you know, yearly mammograms for women and all that stuff. You know, not usually a great time, but, and for men, their checkups, and then we've got all the box checks at work, projects and presentations, and answering emails constantly, the floods of emails, especially those reply alls. I'm so not a fan of those. I read something somewhere actually that said you just delete them all, because a lot of them are just so unnecessary. You know, people just hit reply all, and it's like, I don't need this. Because it takes even if it takes milliseconds from my life minutes, like who needs it? You just don't. We should just I think we should do a video on that maybe. I think I'm going to do that. Anyway, all right, so we're talking about solitude, and right now as I approach the brook here, you can probably start to hear the brook. And again, even if you're in an urban area, it's not exactly the same. There are all kinds of fancy little gadgets out there for waterfall noises, and you can also just do that on Alexa. My kids say she's a spy, but outside of that, you can ask for ocean noises and this and that. But there are those cool little mini waterfalls you can actually put on a desk and close your door and close your eyes and just be present in that moment right now. Because what's amazing is when we find solitude, it's very difficult if you're sitting in solitude for any length of time. And I'm not talking about hours like, the monks who are able to, sit like that for, hours and hours and even days, some of them, at a time. I'm talking about minutes. So lengthy, here the brook is just so lovely. I'm talking about lengthy, even 15 minutes or half an hour. If you're fortunate enough to get a whole hour, which is what I do as much as I can in the morning, well, gee, on this or that trail, it's very close to impossible to not be flooded by messages from your authentic self about maybe where you are versus where your heart's desire pictures you being. That's one. I mean, the inspiration just rolls through you because, like Oprah says, the whispers become loud when you're in the forest. They get louder and louder and louder. It's kind of like yourself saying, pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. It might be, excuse me, something with your health you want to improve, or it might be people in your life where you've been missing and just have been so swept up in those reply alls, emails that you haven't, then one day goes by, I'll get back to her tomorrow, and then it's the next day, and then that's the end of the week. I'll get back to her, and then it's the end of the month. Then it's Thanksgiving or the Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever, and it's all after the holidays, and before you know it, another 4 months went by. And we all know what happens with those stories sometimes. Then occasionally something happens, and that you get a bad phone call, or it's just somebody ages and then they're gone. It's too late. And so the priorities and the prioritizing solitude is good for like a gazillion reasons, because honestly, this is the only time that we're really able to hear ourselves and hear our lives, hear our authentic inner voice speaking to us about, and what we're doing, where we're going, where we are along the path. Again, our authentic desires, and also to just sit still and be with who we are, because I personally think so many of us, sadly, are walking around completely detached from who they are. And sort of the whole point of being here on this wonderful planet, in my opinion anyway, like, well, geez, full of self-love right there, is to learn how to love ourselves and each other. That's really the main theme. That's the main lesson. Yet we prioritize so many other things over just being in the present with who we are, and the joy that comes along with that of sitting with our enoughness and our worthiness, and just taking in everything around us, and just listening to the inner voice. And meanwhile, we're just zipping around, we're in traffic, and we're yelling at people and waving the hands and jumping into Starbucks for that third coffee. And no judgment there, I drink tea, whatever. But it's just so easy. And then life minutes again slip right through our fingertips. So prioritize solitude, because it bridges the world of running around like gerbils on crack, which is largely meaningless. Not all of it, of course. It's the noise I'm talking about. All the waiting in lines, and the traffic, and the empty message sending, and all the people pleasing, and the acquaintances that we spend way too much time with, and showing up at office parties for optics reasons when you don't really want to go. All that crap. It's just so unnecessary. And so it bridges those two worlds and brings us back to the internal world. So really, if we're going to be happy and actually joyful, which is many notches above happy. Happy's good, but happy's also fleeting. A world, an inner life that's joyful and meaningful and full of purpose. We've got to prioritize solitude. That's just it. Because when you prioritize solitude, I'll say us, when you prioritize solitude, you're prioritizing your life. And as far as we know, there's only one go around with this. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is the big game. All right. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful, serene, magical woods, as a friend of mine from Champlain calls it. She knows who she is. Have a mindful day.